What's up? My name's Alexei. I'm creative director here at Titmouse Animation Studio, where we've created a new game called Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents, a fantasy role drinking game. Now, you might be wondering, did he just say fantasy role drinking game? Yes, I did say fantasy role drinking game, because Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents is a new type of game that combines fantasy role playing elements with drinking game mechanics. Basically, what we've done is we've swapped out the idea of taking damage with taking sips. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a character, you're going to summon monsters, you're going to battle those monsters, and as they attack you back, you're going to get progressively drunker. Or if you want to take puffs, maybe you get progressively higher. Or if you want to do push-ups instead of drinking at all, you get progressively more tired and exhausted. Or maybe you want to drink caffeine or eat candy or run around the house, whatever you want to do. The point is we've done that mechanic swap to create a fun evening of kicking monsters' asses with your friends that even a casual gamer who isn't really familiar with tabletop gaming can get into. So what I want to do today is I want to plug our BackerKit, which is where you can go back the game right now. Link will be in the description. And I also want to walk you through some of the elements of the game and give you the basic fundamental overview of how it works. So does that sound like a good idea? I think it does. First of all, I want to let you know that Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents is going to be a beautiful boxed product. Here's a prototype of our box, as you can see, with cover art by artist Heather Mahler. And something that's really important about this particular game is that we've got a bunch of really awesome art from a bunch of awesome artists. And while the entire rules for the game and the description of the game and how to play it all fits within these pair of Drunken Master screens, these two fold-out screens that have all the information for the game, we've also broken out all the different components of the game into these really cool cards, all featuring unique art. So in backing this game, you're going to get a playable boxed game that you can play with your friends. You're also going to get this huge stack of really cool fantasy role-playing plus weed and booze themed art, and it's something we're really excited about. So without further ado, let's talk about what this game is and how it works. All right, so essentially this is a game where you sit down at a table with your friends, you pour some drinks, and you make some fantasy characters to fight monsters. The first part of the game is character sheets, filling them out, making characters. But like I said, all the characters will actually be broken down into these cards. So there are going to be at least, this is our prototype I'm unfolding for you here, at least 12 different characters in the game. Is it ever going to focus? There it is. There's at least 12 different character types in the game. Types like the Beer Bard, the Beerbarian, or the Barbarian. Yes, that's right. We have a Beerbarian and a Barbarian. There's also the Whiskey Wizard, the Tequila Din, and the Bourbon Barian. There's also the Halfling Leaf Thief, the Druid of the Flower, the Blazebarian, and so on and so forth. Each of these characters is going to have a unique armor class, primary attack, secondary attack, special skill, and unique trait. They're all going to be on these really cool cards, like I said. So the first thing you're going to do when you play this game is you're going to pick the type of character you want to be. A little bit about these cards and these characters. As you can see, they have different stats. We love stats. Who doesn't love stats? And the reason why these stats are important is because when you get attacked, all the damage that you take above your armor class is what you're going to convert into sips or puffs or push-ups or skittles. And when you go to attack a monster, you're going to have your choice of different attacks, skills, and other cool things you can do with items and equipment. So here's our Druid of the Flower card, featuring, again, art by Heather Mahler. Just love her work. Here is our Beerbarian card, featuring art by Jenny Goldberg. And here is our Whiskey Wizard card, featuring art by Will Carsola. So there's just a few examples of some of the cards. Like I said, there's 12 different classes to start. Depending on how our BackerKit stretch goals go, there may be more. And each card's going to have 2 different pieces of art. So there'd be 24 different class cards with unique pieces of art. So, okay, let's get back to playing this game. You sit down with your friends. It's time to play the game. You decide who you want to be. I want to be a Whiskey Wizard. I want to be a Barbarian. I want to be a druid of the flower. You take your cards, and then you take a character record, and you fill it out. Basically, it's all the stuff that's already on here, so you could kind of skip this if you wanted to, but it's fun to write things down, and it feels so tabletop RPG to write stuff down. So you fill out your character record. In addition to all of the attacks that you naturally have as, say, a whiskey wizard, you're also going to pick 2 items and a piece of equipment to round out your character. So here's an example I've figured out for a whiskey wizard named Sazerac the Wise. Yes, I did it. His name is Sazerac the Wise. Hopefully this comes through on the camera because I did it in pencil. But Sazerac, he's got a natural armor class of 6, which is pretty low armor, which means he could take a lot of damage out there. But he does a lot of damage too. So he has attacks called Moonshine and Cask Strength. Moonshine does a base of 10 damage. Cask Strength does 2 d12 rolls worth of damage. And then I've equipped him with 3 items. 1 piece of equipment and 2 items. A badass hat, which is going to add 2 to his armor, as well as a sugar booger, which is going to increase the damage of everyone for a round, and a blackout bomb, which is going to kill everything for a round. So let me show you those. Like I said, everything has cards. So, for instance, the badass hat, you can hold on to this card so you remember the effect that it has. Whoa, that's a sick-looking hat. That's art by Sean Glaze, and it gives you armor class of +2. And then also, our Whiskey Wizard's carrying a blackout bomb. These are items. They're single use. So, in the case of a blackout bomb, what you're going to do is you're going to finish your drink, and then that's going to kill all enemies on the board. Or a sugar booger, that's going to give all players around you +20 damage for 1 round. So that's how you create a character. You pick a character class, and then you combine it with 2 items and a piece of equipment, such as this whiskey wizard. That's the class item, badass hat, and then equipment, badass hat, 2 items, sugar booger, and blackout bomb. Like I said, equipment. That sticks with you the whole game while you play. Items, they're single use. And you'll see on your card, on your player character record, chances to mark the items as used to track if you've used them. But if you're using cards, you can just set the cards down. So, we've set up a game. We've all chosen who we're going to be. One of us, let's imagine there's 3 of us at the table. One of us wants to be Sazerac the Wise, this whiskey wizard. One of us wants to be a druid of the flower named Anya Cloud. There she is. That's our druid of the flower, Anya Cloud. And finally, I set this one over here. I'm back. One of us wants to be Marf, a beerbarian. Now, I've named all these characters just for fun right now, and set them up with items and equipment. But you're going to get to name your own character, and you're going to get to create a character story. You know, Marf, this beerbarian, I imagine that he was too beautiful, and he was shaming all the other beerbarians, so he was cast out of his beerbarian tribe, and he was forced to wander the lands looking for someone strong enough to beat him in a fight and fuck up his beautiful face, but he's just too strong, so he remains beautiful to this day. So that's Marf's story, and if I was role-playing, I would role-play as the most beautiful beerbarian. But you get to create your own character and be whoever you want. That's part of the fun of a role-playing game. And then the mechanics of the game are going to handle monsters and the fighting and how many sips you take. So, let's talk a little bit about how that actually works. We've got our characters, Sazerac, Anya, and Marv. This is our adventure record. The adventure record is how you track your progress through the game. And how the game works is very simple. Every game set is going to come with a D12. You can get as many D12s as you want, or you can use generic D12s. I've got a pile of D12s right here just to prove how fun D12s are, and I just love them. It's our favorite dice here at Titmouse. The D12, that's why we built this game around it. So basically you roll a D12, you get a number. In this case, I got the number 6, and now I'm going to summon a monster. The monsters are numbered 1 to 12. There are 19 different monsters in the base list of monsters, plus some extras, such as a narc, who would be summoned by rolling a 1. or a haze beast who may be summoned by rolling a 2, or an acid ape who could also be summoned with a roll of a 2, or a meat man at the roll of a 3, or a bogart at the roll of a 3. As you'll see, there are many different monsters all with original pieces of art by some incredible artists like Errol Otis, one of the original Dungeons and Dragons artists, or the Cokemeer by artist Abby Jane, the Spliff Queen by Johnny Ryan, or the Smoke Lord by Will Carsola. So as we go through here, you'll see there are many different monsters that can be summoned. I rolled a 6. That's going to summon a bull bear with art by Sean Glaze. So, oh no, I've summoned a bull bear. Let's, just to imagine this game has gotten a little further, we'll summon a few monsters at once. But when you summon a monster, it gets added to the character record. So, I rolled a 6. Boom. I rolled a bull bear. The bull bear is a walking horror, wrought from the discarded parts of random corpses, likely the result of a genetic experiment by a drunken mage seeking to create life where only death should be. No creature should possess both tusks and beak, fur and feathers, and so this disgusting creature needs to die. Every monster is going to have an original description. This bull bear has 36 hit points. He does 1 attack at a time, and he has a special attack, which is he rolls 1d12 for each player present as his attack. So I would put down his current hit points as 36. Now let's summon a couple more monsters so that we can really see how this game works. Okay, I rolled a 9. So I'm going to go to my monster cards. We've already got 1 bull bear. There's a stone petrifier. That was an 8. There's a booze hound. That was an 8. Ooh, 9, we have a mindfucker and a bong hog. Now, whoever is the game master for the round, which is a rotating responsibility, gets to pick which gets summoned. I'm going to summon this mindfucker. So, the mindfucker enters the game because I rolled a 9. I'm going to write his name down. Mindfucker. And his current hit points are 40. He does 1 attack, and the damage is 1d12. Now, the specialness, every monster has something special about it. That's what makes the game fun, discovering all these cool monsters and how to battle them. He does radiant psionic attacks, and it does direct damage to all players. So he doesn't just attack one player, he attacks many players at once. And then let's roll for another monster, and then let's fight these monsters. Okay. Rolled a 10. Really escalating things here. That 10, let's see. That's going to roll. And some of these cards are slightly different shades because this is a prototype set. But that 10 rolled a hangover mummy. Now the hangover mummy, he has 42 hit points and does 1 attack with damage of 2d12 plus 4. It's all listed right on his little monster card. So I rolled a 10. That is the mummy, and he starts with 42 hit points. Now, in a real game, if this was actually 3 people and not just one guy in a room alone pretending to be 3 people, you would roll 1 monster, and then I'll fight that monster. Then roll another monster, I'll fight that monster. The monsters would gradually pile up over time. You would use your special items and equipment to clear the board of monsters. More monsters would appear. You're going to take damage. You're going to drink. You're going to describe all of the action of fighting these monsters. And you're going to have a lot of fun. That's the idea of the game. It's pretty much just that. Monsters appear. You fight them. You drink. But since I'm just demonstrating how the game works, I'm just rolling a few monsters here so that you can see them and get a selection of how different monster attacks work. And then we're going to fight these monsters. So let's roll 1 more. How about that? We're pretty late in the game now. The monsters are starting to overwhelm our heroes, we rolled a 1. So be a little guy monster. So let's summon this Narc with art by Maddie Brewer. So the Narc, again, they all have a bio, hit points, damage, and a number of attacks, and then a specialty about them. So I rolled a 1. That's a Narc with a G. And Narc only has 24 hit points. And the Narc's special attack is, upon Narc arrival, players must toss out unfinished bowls or joints. This can be avoided through a saving throw. There's a typo, a saving throw of 7 or higher on D12. So, oh no, I'm smoking a joint. A Narc arrived. Let me roll. I rolled a 7. Good thing. If I didn't, no, I unrolled it. I rolled a 7 though. Had I not rolled a 7, I'd have to discard my joint. That'd be a real bummer. But luckily I did, so I can keep smoking. All right. Now we've got 4 monsters out on the board. As you just saw, we have our 3 heroes representing the players who would be playing together. Let's see, not a Blazebarian, but a Whiskey Wizard. We've got Anya Cloud, a Druid of the Flower. We've got Sazerac the Wise, a Whiskey Wizard. And we've got Marf, our beautiful Beerbarian. So we're going to go around the table, our imaginary table, and we're each going to get attacked by a monster and see how many sips of damage that monster does. So the responsibility of controlling the monsters, mentioned before, but I'll say it again, is a rotating responsibility. It just rolls left around the table. Each round, someone else gets to control the monsters and their character sits it out. But since we're just demonstrating, I'll control all the monsters and I'll pick who I want to attack. So the first one who came out was the Bull Bear. So let's run an attack with this Bull Bear. He does 36 damage. Creature rolls 1d12 for each player present and attacks once. So there's 3 players present. So I'm actually going to grab a couple more d12s. There's 3 of them. I'm going to do damage. I'm going to pick, as the DM, I'm going to pick who this Bull Bear wants to go after, and then I'm going to go after them. Now, they're called a Bull Bear, kind of have a weed theme. So I'm going to say this Bull Bear is attracted to Anya Cloud, this Druid of the Flower who is out on the battlefield. And, you know, that fragrance of sweet, sweet flowers has attracted the Bull Bear. So the Bull Bear is going to attack Anya. So rolls 3 d12s. Wow. This is a terrible roll from this Bull Bear. Rolled a 4, a 3, and a 2. So that's only 4, 7, 8, 9 damage. So Bull Bear strikes out at Anya Cloud, but as you can see, her armor is 10. So that Bull Bear does not satisfy the requirement of passing her armor, so she takes no damage. So Anya is safe from that attack. That Bull Bear has attacked. Now it is the Mind Fucker's turn to attack. So that Mind Fucker saw that attack happen and was like, wow, I got to get some revenge on behalf of that Bull Bear. You know, like Anya can't walk away from that. So the Bull Bear is going to decide also to attack Anya. But, you know, as I read the special attack here, I'm reminded that it actually attacks all players at once. So, and this is a special attack, 1d12, that ignores armor. So everyone is going to take damage regardless of what their armor class is. So, boom, rolled a 10. That is a huge attack from this Mindfucker. It blasts out radiant psionic attacks, penetrating the brains of all 3 players. Anya, Marf, and Sazerac, they all take 10 damage. So this is where you would take your drink, or your pipe, or your bowl of M&Ms, whatever it is. Maybe you get down on the floor ready to do some push-ups, and you do 10 sips, because 10 damage. Now, this isn't alcohol. It's 9 a.m. This is actually a caffeinated beverage, which I suppose is my drug of choice for today. So 10 sips. Okay, great. Now we're playing. See, it's a drinking game. You get it, right? There's monsters. They attack us. We take damage. We drink. That's 2 monsters down for this round of attacks. Next up is the Hangover Mummy. Look, I could have fake drank, but, let's be real. Hangover Mummy is next. All enemies roll an additional 1d12 for attack while this monster is on the battlefield. I should have rolled an additional 1d12 for that, for both of them. I fucked up. I'm a bad game master, but guess what? Who cares? This is a game. We're playing. That's fun. So, really, this Hangover Mummy should have buffed the other 2 characters and rolled an extra d12, so they would have been more powerful, but I forgot. So, that's okay. That's going to be a big part of this drinking game experience. So, regardless, this Hangover Mummy is going to roll 2d12 plus 4. So, this is a banger of a monster. 2d12 plus 4, and, sick of attacking Anya, this Hangover Mummy looks at our Beerbarian Marf and says, "You're mine. You're mine, you beautiful bastard." So roll 2 d12s plus 4. That's a 5 and a 2. 5, 7 plus 4 is only 11. And Marf has armor class of 12. So this doesn't do any damage to Marf. Marf remains beautiful to this day and is not hurt at all by this Hangover Mummy. And that's kind of the fun of the game, right? Is these monsters are going to accumulate. You're going to have armor, varying amounts of armor. Now, had he attacked our Whiskey Wizard, that attack would have landed for 5 damage, but he didn't. He attacked the Beerbarian Marf. So Marf is okay. And so finally, our little narc, our little 1-roll narc, rolls up here. Luckily, Anya's still rocking that joint because the narc wasn't successful with their special attack, which I did remember. So the narc is going to roll 1d12 plus 2. And the narc's going to look at that Whiskey Wizard and say, he hasn't been attacked. Let's go after this Whiskey Wizard named Sazerac. So, 1d12. That's an 11 plus 2. 13 attack to our Whiskey Wizard. Our Whiskey Wizard only has an armor of 6, but if you remember, we have items as well. And Sazerac is actually wearing this badass hat. This badass hat modifies the armor of this character from a 6 to an 8. So it does 11. Oh, wait, before I stop. Remember, there's a Hangover Mummy on the battlefield. Roll an additional 1d12 attack while this monster is on the battlefield. So our little narc is buffed. So it's already rolled an 11. Let's roll one more. That's a 6. So actually, our narc is much more effective in this way. All these cards. It's hard to be 3 players at once. Rolled 1d12 plus 2. 11, 12, 13. Plus another 6. That is 19 damage against our Whiskey Wizard, who only has armor of 8. So our Whiskey Wizard would take 11 sips. Now that is a big hit, but that's the fun of a game, a drinking game, that's ruled by d12s. Sometimes they roll low, sometimes they roll pretty high. So the attacks can go back and forth. So that is one round of monster attacks from a Hangover Mummy, a Bull Bear, a Mindfucker, and a Narc, all going at our 3 heroes, our Whiskey Wizard, our Beerbarian, and our Druid of the Flower. But now you know what that means. It's time for them to fight back. So we'll run through how players attack monsters. It's basically the exact same as monsters attacking players, only in reverse. So our players will decide who wants to attack first, which you just talked through. Sazerac might say, look, I'm pretty pissed. I just had to drink a lot. I want first dibs. I want to attack. I want to attack back. I want to attack that narc. So the players talk amongst themselves. Sazerac, as you may recall, is wearing that badass hat. Also has a sugar booger, which is going to give everyone plus 20 damage, which is pretty huge. Also has a blackout bomb, which would kill everything on the battlefield all at once. So I don't know if those are being picked up in the camera, but these are the items that our Whiskey Wizard has. Now, if he wanted to, Sazerac could pound his beer, expend his blackout bomb, and kill all 4 of our monsters, leaving the battlefield completely empty, and then we'll start to roll new monsters. You know, for the sake of the demo, I don't want to kill all the monsters. The other thing that Sazerac could do is could give all of his players a buff of plus 20 damage. Again, that's going to be a one-time use item, so you might want to use that late in the game when you feel like you really need it. So I'm going to hold on to my items as Sazerac. I'm not going to use them just yet. Just going to do a kind of classic attack. And Sazerac has 2 attacks, a primary and a secondary, as well as a special skill and a unique trait. So special skill is called Seal Breaker. That means that this character can choose to just dip out and avoid attacks altogether for a round, but then they won't get to attack. I don't want to do that right now. And then the other one is, should a monster be left with exactly 1 health, Sazerac takes a shot. So let's just do our secondary attack, which does straight 2d12 damage. It's called Cask Strength. So Sazerac's going to call out that Narc and say, Narc, you're mine. I raise my hand in a spell, and I cast Cask Strength on that Narc. 2d12s. That is a 9 and a 3. That's 12 total damage. So we go back to our adventure record. That Narc takes 12 damage. So what you do is, it's just a pretty classic way of tracking things. You cross out that 24, you subtract 12. Now our Narc has 12 damage moving forward. All right, so now our Beerbarian is going to step up. And our Beerbarian, Marf, our beautiful Beerbarian, is going to say, it's my turn to do an attack. And we're going to review what items they have just to make sure that we're using everything correctly. They have Flask of Inebriation, which means they can increase their damage by drinking while they attack, 1 damage per sip. They have a Vorpal, that's their equipment that stays with them all game. They have a Vorpal funnel. Let me show you pictures of these. Yeah, here we go. There's the Flask of Inebriation. That's their equipment. They also have a Vorpal funnel, which takes all allies' damage on their behalf for 1 round. Now, it's, again, a single-use item. We're not going to use it just yet. We're going to hold on to it. And a Baggie of Holding, which gives them plus 3 additional actions after using. So kind of hypes you up and gives you a little energy to do 3 additional actions. So Marv could, use this Baggie of Holding and do 4 things at once, right? Plus 3 actions. They could do a primary attack on 1 character, a primary attack on a second character. They could use their special skill, which is called Stink Whistle, which is essentially a taunt, where they cause all monsters in the next round to attack only them. And then they could do a 4th thing, which might be to attack once more. So it just gives them a lot of energy. But for the sake of the demo, we're just going to do a straight up attack, hammer tap. That's a 1d12 attack. And let's say we're going to go at this hangover mummy, right? So you call your shot, who you're going to attack, and then you attack them. Now, these aren't super heavy attacks in the case of this Beerbarian Marf, but such is life. So 1d12 against the hangover mummy. It's 1d12 rolls a 9. So then you just grab your adventure record. Mummy had 42. Minus 9 is 33 left. So our monsters are being injured by the attacks. And finally, we have Anya Cloud. She's up. She's our last character to be playing in the group. She's our Druid of the Flower. She says, okay, I'm going to, let's review. She has a chain smoker's pipe, piece of equipment, which is really cool. You roll a d12 every time you attack, and if you roll a 1 through 6, it has no effect. If you roll a 7 through 9, your attack chains to 2 enemies. And if you roll a 10 through 12, your attack chains to 3 enemies, which is really cool. And then she also has a Sandal of Gygax, which allows her to draw and easily avoid all attacks. And she has a stick. It's pretty cool. It does extra 5 damage. You hit somebody with it, right? So she has a stick. So she's gonna do her just flat attack of Reefer Madness, right? It's just an 8, flat 8. She's not gonna risk the roll right now on the 12. She could roll low. She wants to do some steady damage. So she's gonna roll a 9. That roll was for her chain smoker's pipe. So since she has this pipe, she rolls 7 through 9. The attack hits 2 enemies. She rolled a 9. So her 8 damage attack is going to hit 2 enemies. And she probably should have called it ahead of time, but she's like doubling down on that narc and that mummy. So our narc takes 8, goes down to 4. Our mummy takes 8, goes down to 25. So the round is over. Monsters got their chance to attack. Our players got their chance to attack. The monsters are all injured. Our players did some drinking. It's time for a new round. You know what a new round looks like? It looks like this. You roll a d12. I rolled a 1. And now I summon one of the monsters with a number 1 on it. So let me go back through my big old pile of monsters and look for my other 1 monster. Where did it go? I know there's somebody. There it is. The drug bear. So a drug bear enters summoned by the roll of a 1. So I write 1 down on my adventure record. All right. Drug bear. Drug bear has 24 hit points. And then I read their special attack. Attacks 2 times in a row if the smell of weed is in the air. Now, Anya Cloud is in the room, so you know the smell of weed is in the air, which means that the drug bear is always going to do 2 attacks unless Anya decides to go home and smoke alone because she's sick of this BS. So we would just run through the monster attacks again. The drug bear, the bull bear, the mindfucker, the narc, the hangover mummy, they would all get to do their attacks. Our players would drink based on the damage that they take, and then the players would get to do their attacks, maybe smite some of these monsters, maybe use some items, maybe hold those items for later, and then more monsters appear. So, wow. I have hit 33 minutes to describe this game. That is a lot of time. I hope you've stuck with me. I hope you've been having fun seeing all this really cool art that decorates all these cards. And I hope you're interested enough to head to our BackerKit and back Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents, the first ever, I think, because I Googled it and no hits came up, fantasy role drinking game, where you combine fantasy role-playing elements and drinking game mechanics to become the hero of your dreams, fuck up some monsters, and get fucked up. So, thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up on BackerKit. Feel free to leave comments on this video wherever you see it. Feel free to hound us on social media, on Instagram especially, as I'm old enough that's where I look the most. And get at us. Let us know what you think. There's way more art than I even was able to show you. There is one other really cool element of the game that is included in the deluxe edition, which is pre-generated characters. So instead of a generic Blazebarian, for instance, with art by Dave Cooper, there would be an original piece of art from an artist of a Blazebarian, and that Blazebarian will have a name and bio and items and equipment already chosen. So that's a really cool thing. But everything you need to play the game is going to come in this base set, including one D12 that's going to have a custom D&D logo on it, Drunkards, Druggies, and Delinquents. And you're also going to get the really cool 3-panel Drunken Master screen, which has all the rules and everything in it. You're going to get a second one of these screens, but the art's still in progress, so I don't want to spoil it just yet. It's actually going to have a version of Heather Mahler's cool art. This was by Skinner, this blacklight 3-panel. And then there's a bunch of other cool stuff that comes with the game at the upper tiers of pledging. Cool custom dice tray, custom beer mats, t-shirts are out there, stickers are out there. There's all sorts of cool stuff. So thank you for sticking around. I hope you know how this game works. I hope you agree it's pretty simple. You can dive right in with your friends. You can maybe convert some folks who don't know about role-playing into role-playing game players. And you can get super wasted until you order pizza and forget that you're playing at all. And that's how we end the game. Until next time, thank you, and I'll see you around.